This is the spooky moment a dog walker saw a demonic figure crawling across the path of a country park, haunted by a spirit called Grey Lady. Pub owners Hannah and Dave Rowett were walking their Labradors through the supposedly haunted forest in Clumber Park, Nottinghamshire, at around 6:30 a.m. earlier this month when Mrs. Rowett said she felt they weren't alone. The 52-year-old claimed she quickly pulled out her phone and captured a scary white silhouette crossing the path in front of her as she followed it with a torch. On watching the footage, she turned to Mr. Rowett, also 52, and said, "I've just seen a ghost." One of the National Trust's most visited country parks, Clumber Park is claimed to be haunted by a female spirit called Grey Lady, who has reportedly been seen wearing a long grey cloak. She described what she saw as a demonic figure crawling on long limbs. Paranormal skeptic Mr. Rowett admitted his hair stood up on end when he saw the footage, which has convinced him that ghosts do exist. The clip was originally a live photo, in which consecutive frames are linked to make a short video, but Mrs. Rowett said she had it converted so she could share it on Facebook. The video has now racked up almost 600 reactions and nearly 2,000 comments, with spooked-out users labeling it scary, and one even joking that he was glad the park's campsites were always booked up. Mrs. Rowett, who said she has always sensed things, claimed she has no logical explanation for the experience. Mrs. Rowett, from Worksop, Nottinghamshire, said, "Initially I thought it was a dog, but then as I look at it it's more a human type form. Dave was still getting one of the dogs out of the car and I just sensed I wasn't on my own. I took a photo and as I did it went across the camera. It's quite demonic in the way it's crawling and has long limbs. It never changes its form. If it was smoke it would change. I followed it with my torch, watched it back, then turned to Dave and said, 'I've just seen a ghost and I've got it on camera.' I didn't feel scared. When I sense things I always get my camera out because you don't always see things with the naked eye. That's why I caught it." Mrs. Rowett added, "I think it's such an incredible image that I wanted to share it. The kids were blown away by it when we sent it to them. I've had so many messages about it. It justifies our feelings about it. There aren't many like this out there and we've got no logical explanation." The mother, who runs the White Lion pub and restaurant in Worksop with her husband, said she grew up in a house where she would regularly see an old man who supposedly haunted it. Meanwhile, Mr. Rowett, who described himself as a paranormal skeptic before seeing his wife's footage, admitted it changed his mind and gave him the evidence he needed to believe in ghosts. "I've always been really skeptical, but literally every hair from my feet to my head stood on end. I asked her to show me again. I loved it," he said. "I wasn't scared. I was just glad to see something because I've always said that I'd need to before I believe stuff like that. This makes me believe there is something." Facebook users have tried to claim the figure is cigarette smoke or e-cigarette vapor, but the pair insisted they don't smoke or vape. They sent the photo to their children who turned it into a video file for Mrs. Rowett to post on Facebook. Her post, captioned, "It seems we weren't alone on our early morning walk in Clumber today," has been shared thousands of times. One person commented, "The image is too far away to be smoke or breath. Looks kosher to me. Scary." Another joked, "I'm glad Clumber is always fully booked for camping now, after seeing this." A third said, "This doesn't look edited." However, one skeptic said, "It's just smoke I think." A second said, "It's cold. Someone's probably breathed in and let out some steam." The pub bosses, who walk their dogs every day in Clumber Park, said they would be keeping their eyes open for spooky happenings in future.